All right. Okay. So, module 21, ASA firewall configuration. Okay, in this module, yeah, we have a couple of topics that you can see in your screen. First, basic ASA firewall configuration. Yeah. And then configure management setting and also services, object groups, SASCL, NAT services on ASA and AAA. Yeah. Next, service policy on ASA, and finally, introduction to ASDM. Okay. Okay. Basic ASA firewall configuration 20.1. Okay, the ASA command line interface CLI is proprietary OS which has a similar look and feel to the router IOS. Yeah. For example, ASA CLI contains command prompt similar to that of Cisco IOS router. Abbreviation of command and keyword, use of tab key to complete a partial command, and use of the help key after a command to view additional syntax. So the table contrasts command iOS router and ASA command. So for example, okay, like enable secret in iOS router command, and also in ASA enable password same. Yeah. And then for in iOS router for this, okay, but in SA is only this. Yeah. And for the IP route in iOS command, so in ASA, they are using this command. Okay. And also for the rest, you can check that. Yeah. All right. So as ACLI commands can be executed regardless of the current configuration mode. Yeah. So as a CLI command can be executed regardless of the current configuration mode prompt. Then the OIOS do command is not required nor recognized. Okay, as a default configuration. There's a 5506 Act, yeah, with firepower services ships with a default configuration that in most instances is sufficient for a basic SOHO deployment. Use the configure factory default global configuration mode command to restore the factory default configuration. The default host name is a Cisco ASA. Yeah. So by default, the privilege exec and console line password are not configured. So this setting can be changed by manually using the CLI, interactively using the CLI setup initialization wizard, and using the ASDM startup wizard. Yeah. So as a interactive setup initialization wizard. So the wizard is display when there is no startup configuration and prompt this one pre-configure firewall. Okay, like on your right side, yeah, figure, you can see this, yeah, at the beginning of the sentence here. So pre-configure firewall now through interactive yes prompt. and then yes question mark. So to cancel and display ASA default user AZ mode prompt, enter no. Otherwise, enter yes, or simply press enter to accept the default. Yeah, yes. This initiates the wizard and ASA interactive guides and administrator to configure the default setting. All right. 21.2 Configure management settings and services. Enter global configuration mode. The default ASA user prompt of Cisco ASA is displayed when an ASA configuration is erased. The device is rebooted and the user does not, the user does not use the interactive setup wizard. And then to enter privilege exec mode, use the enable user exec mode command initially, and SA does not have a password configure. Therefore, when prompted, leave the enable password prompt blank and press enter. The SA date and time should be set either manually or by using NTP or network time protocol to set the date and time. Use the clock set privilege exec command. Enter global configuration mode using the configure terminal privilege exec command. Configure basic setting. An ASA must be configured with basic management setting. The table display the command to accomplish this task. Okay, host name. So this host name will specify a host name up to 63 character. And also host name must start and end with a letter or digit and have as interior character only letters, digits, or hyphen. Domain name. Yeah, and then we put the name and set the default domain name. Enable password. So set the enable password for privilege exec mode and set the password as a case sensitive string of 3 to 32 alphanumeric and special character, not including a question mark or space. Next, banner MOTD message. So provide a legal notification and configure the system to display and message of the day banner when connecting to the ASA. And for the key config key password encryption, so set the passphrase between 8 and 128 character long and use to generate the encryption key. And then password encryption AES, so means it enable password encryption and encrypts all user password. To configure a banner with several lines, the banner MOTD must be entered multiple times. Okay, so the privilege exec password is automatically encrypted using MD5. However, stronger encryption using AES should be enabled. To do so, a master passphrase must be configured and AES encryption must be enabled. To change the master passphrase, use the key config key password encryption password command. To determine if password encryption is enabled, use the show password encryption command. Okay. Configure interfaces. The SA5506X has 8 Giga Ethernet interfaces that can be configured to carry traffic from different networks. The G1/1 interface is used by convention as the outside interface and is set to receive its IP address over DHCP by default. The remaining interface, which is G1/2 and G1/8, can be assigned to inside network or DMZ. Yeah. In addition, a gigabit Ethernet port is dedicated to in-band management. It is designated as management 1/1. There are also RJ45 and USB console connection for out of band management. Okay. Here are the image of that device. Yeah. Okay. Configure interface. The IP address of an interface can be configured using one of the following options: manually, DHCP, or PPPoE. Yeah. For manually, commonly used to assign an IP address and mask to the interface. For DHCP, used when an interface is connecting to an upstream device providing DHCP services. And for third one, PPOE, used when an interface is connecting to an upstream DSL device providing point-to-point connectivity over Ethernet services. So the table below lists the command to configure the IP address on an interface. Yeah, so you can check this. Yeah, all the command. All right. So each interface must have a security level from 0, which is the lowest, and 100, which is the highest. The command below are used to configure basic interface parameters. Yeah. Verify the interface addressing and status with the show interface IP brief command as shown below. Note that the show command does not need to be entered in the user exec mode. Okay, all right. So here are the command. So interface configuration example. Okay, here are the interface configuration example. All right. Okay, all this. Okay, and use the root interface name, which is 000.000 for the next hop IP address command to configure a default route. Okay, so like this example. Yeah. So configure remote access services. Telnet or SSH is required to manage the ASA 5506 Act remotely using CLI. To enable the Telnet service, use the command listed in the table below. Okay, so we got this password, we got Telnet, and then we got Telnet timeout, and AA authentication, Telnet console local, and clear configure Telnet. Okay, here are the example that we do on that. Yeah. Okay. Configure remote access services. To enable SSH, use the command that are listed in the table below. Example configuration is on the next slide. Okay, here are the all those commands that are using to enable SSH. Yeah, all together. Okay. So this is example of the command that we going to use later. Yeah. Okay. Even in our activity, we will use this, and also the activity in the net also they are using this. Okay. You can double check. You can try that. Yeah. All right. So this is the one that we are using the real device. So this configuration that we need to do that. Okay, configure as a basic setting using the CLI. Okay, in the example, you will complete the following objective. First, configure basic device. Next, part 2, asset as a console and USLI setup mode to configure basic setting. And part 3, configure basic SA setting and interface security levels. Okay, configure NTP, Network Time Protocol Services. NTP or Network Time Protocol Services can be enabled on an ASA to obtain the date and time from an NTP server. To enable NTP, use the global config mode command listed in the table below. To verify the NTP configuration and status, use the show NTP status and show NTP association command. Okay, here are the command that we use, and this is the example. And we use that and example of the configuration, okay, that we do in the ASA firewall. Configure DHCP services. And ASA can be configured to be DHCP server to provide IP addresses and DHCP related information to host. To enable an ASA as a DHCP server and provide DHCP services to host, use the command listed below in the table example on the next slide. So this is the command that we're going to use that, and the following slide will show you the example, okay, that we use on as a firewall. Yeah. 21.3 Object groups. Reduction to objects and object groups. Objects are reusable component for use in configuration. Object can be defined and used in Cisco ASA configuration in the place of inline IP addresses, services, names, and so on. There's a group support group. Sorry, there's a supports, yeah, objects and object group as shown in the output in the following output from the help facility. Okay, so you can see here. All right, this one. So this is the configuration mode option that they have. Okay. So configure network object. To create a network object, you use the object network, yeah, and also object name. So global configuration mode command. The prompt changes to network object configuration mode. Network object can consist of the following, like host, which is a host address, FQDN, which is a fully qualified domain name, range, a range of IP addresses, subnet is representing an entire IP network, or subnet. So command available in network object configuration mode as shown in the table below. So here are the command like attribute, yeah, description, FQDN, host, range, and also the subnet. So this is the example display, a sample network object configuration. Notice that the configuration of range override the previous configuration of host. Configure service object. The table provides, the table below provides an overview of command service option available. Optional keyword are used to identify source port or destination port or both. Operators such as equal, EQ, not equal, and EQ, I less than, greater than, and also range. Support configuring a port for a given protocol. If no protocol is specified, the default operator is equal, EQ. Use the no form to command to remove the service objects. Okay, like on other devices, on router or switches, we are use no, negate, okay, to remove. To erase all the service object, use the clear config object service command. Okay, here are the command. Okay, so we got service, service TCP, service UDP, service INCP, service ICMP 6. Okay, so a service object name can only be associated with one protocol or more ports, yeah, as shown in the show run object service output in this example. Okay, all right. Object groups. Object can be grouped together to create an object. By grouping like objects together, and object group can be used in access control entry ACE instead of having an ACE for each object separately. The following guideline and limitation apply to object groups. So object and object groups share the same namespace. Object group must have unique names. An object group cannot be removed or empty, type if it is used in a command. The ASA does not support IPv6 nested object group, right? So there are five type of object group. We got network, for network-based object, specify a list of IP address, subnet, and also the list of network addresses. And user, locally created as well as imported Active Directory user group can be defined for use in the features that support the entity firewall. Next, we got service. A service-based object group is used to group TCP, UDP, TCP, and UDP port into an object. The SA enabled the creation of the service object group that can contain a mix of TCP services, UDP services, ICMP type services, any protocols such as ESP, GRA, and also TCP. ICMP type, the ICMP protocol uses a unique types to send control messages, RFC 792. Okay, document standard, this one, so you can check that. So the ICMP type object group can group the necessary type required to meet an organization's security needs, such as to create an object called echo to group echo and echo reply. A security group object can be used in feature that support Cisco Trust SEC by including the group in an extended ACL, which in turn can be used in an access role. Configure command object group. To configure a network object group, use the object group network GRP name global configuration mode command. After entering the command, add network object to the network group using the network object and group object commands. To configure ICMP object group, use the object group ICMP type, group name, global configuration mode command. After entering the command, add ICMP object to the ICMP group. ICMP group object using the ICMP object and group object commands. The example display a sample network object group configuration. Okay, this one, the whole thing. Okay, object group network description, and then the object the host, object for another object exit, and object group network host for this. Okay, so this is the example of the configuration setting. Next, 21.4 ASA ACL. These are the similarities between ASA ACL and also iOS ACL. ACL are made up of one or more ACEs, ACE are applied to a protocol, a source and destination IP address, a network, or the source and destination port. ACL are processed sequentially from top to bottom, and then the criteria match will cause the ACL to be exited. There is an explicit deny any at the bottom. Remark can be added per ACE or SCL. Only one SSL can be applied per interface, per protocol, per direction. SCL can be enabled or disabled based on the time range. These are the difference between ASA ACL and also iOS ACL. There's ASA use a network mask disk and not a wildcard mask. And then ACL are always names instead of numbered. Okay, by default, interface security level apply access control without an ACL configured. Type of ASA/ACL filtering. ACL on security appliance can be used not only to filter packets that are passing through the appliance, but also to filter packets destined for the appliance. Through traffic filtering, traffic passing through the SA from one interface to another interface, the configuration is completed in two steps. Configure SL, then apply the SL to an interface. And next to the box traffic filtering, management access rule that apply to traffic that terminates at the SA. SA devices differ from their router counterpart because of an interface security level. By default, security level apply access control without an ACL configured. SA devices differ from their router counterpart because of interface security level. By default, security level apply access control without an ACL configured. Okay, so more secure interface can be accessed, more secure interfaces can access, and then less secure interfaces. So this is we call the concept that they are using for the ASA ACL. Yeah. So, however, a host from an outside interface with security level 0 cannot access the inside high level interface as shown below. Yeah. So less secure interface are actually blocked from accessing more secure interfaces. So from an outside interface with security level 0 cannot access the inside higher level interface as shown in the figure. Okay, use the same security traffic permit interface to enable traffic between interfaces with the same security level, and use the same security traffic permit intra-interface command to allow traffic to enter and exit the same interface. So less secure interfaces are blocked from accessing more secure interfaces. Type of ASA/ACL. Alright. Okay. So the SA support 5 type of access list: extended access list, the most common type of ACL, and standard access list, which is unlike iOS where a standard ACL identify the source, host, or network. SA standard ACL are used to identify the destination IP addresses. Standard access list cannot be applied to interfaces to control traffic. And then for the Ether type access list, an Ether type ACL can be configured only if the security applier is running in transparent mode. For the web type access list, used for filtering for clientless SSL VPN traffic, this ACL can deny access based on URL or destination addresses. And for the last one, IPv6 access list, used to determine which IPv6 traffic to block and which traffic to forward at router interfaces. Use the help access list privilege exec command to display the syntax for all of the ACL supported on an ASA platform. Okay, so to double check that, yeah. So below is the table provide example of the use of the uses of extended ACL. Okay, for the ACL use control network access for IP traffics. So the SA does not allow any traffic from a lower security interface to a higher security interface unless it is explicitly permitted by an extended access list. Identify traffic for AA rules. AA rules use access list to identify traffics. Identify addresses for NAT. Policy not let you identify local traffic for address translation by specifying the source and destination addresses in an extended access list. For SWBPN access, extended access list can be used in VPN command. And for the modular policy framework MPF, access list can be used to identify traffic in a class map, which is used for feature that support MPF. Feature that support MPF include TCP, general connection setting, and inspection. Yeah. The tables provide example of use of standard SCL. Okay. So identify OSPF destination network in route maps. So standard access list include all the destination address. It can be used to control the redistribution of OSPF routes. Yeah. VPN filters. So filter traffic for LAN to LAN. Yeah. Cisco VPN client and the Cisco any connect secure mobility client traffic. The table provide example of use IPv6 ACL. So control network access for IPv6 network can be used to add and apply access list to control traffic in IPv6 networks. Syntax for configuring on ASA ACL. iOS and ASA ACL have a similar element, but some option vary with the ASA. There are many options that can be used with ACL. However, for most needs, a more useful and condensed version of the syntax is shown in the figure. Okay, here are the example. Okay. So the table describe element of ASA So ACL ID, so action can be permit, yeah, or deny. And for ACL ID, the name of the ACL. And then for action can be permit or deny. For the protocol, number and source can be IP for all traffic or the name IP protocol 0 to 250 including ICMP1, TCP6, UDP17 or a protocol object group. For the source, element source, so identify the source and can be any a host or network object groups. And for the box traffic filtering, the interface keyword is used to specify the command interface of the ASA. And next, source port operator. Optionally, operand is used in conjunction with the source port. So valid operand include less than, greater than, equal, or not equal, and also range for an inclusive range. For the source port, we got optional can be actual TCP or UDP port number, select port name, and service object group. For destination, identify the destination and like the source, it can be any host, network, or network object group. And for the to the box traffic filtering, the interface keyword is used to specify the destination interface of the SA. Destination port operator. Operand is used in conjunction with the destination port, so valid operand are the same as the source port operand. For destination port, can be the actual TCP or UDP port number, select port name, and also service object group. And for the log, can set elements for syslog, including severity level and also log interval. And time range, specify the time range for the ACE. Syntax for apply and ASACL. The example display the command syntax and parameter description for applying the ACL, yeah, to an interface using access group command syntax. To verify ACL, use the command access list and show running config access list command. To erase and configure ACL, use the clear configure access list ID command. Yeah. So here are the syntax. And then there are the explanation for that. Okay, so later we'll do the exercises on this, including also I think available in the NetCat as well. Yeah. All right. Example one: ACL allow all hosts on the inside network to go through the SA. So by default, all the traffic is denied unless explicitly permitted. Okay. So example two: ACL prevent host 192.168.1.0/24 from accessing this IP or network. Yeah, network address, and then internal hosts are permitted access to all other addresses. All other traffic is implicitly denied. Okay. So ACL and object group. Consider the same topology in the figure in which access from two trusted remote hosts PC1 and also PC2 should be allowed to the two internal for web and email servers. All other traffic attempting to pass through the SA should be dropped and locked. Okay, the SCL required 2 SCE for each PC to accomplish this task. The implicit deny any drops and locks any packet that do not match email or web services. As shown in the example, ACL should always be thoroughly documented using the remark command. To verify ACL syntax, use the show running config access list and show access list command as shown in the example. All right. ACL using object group example. Object groups is a way to group similar items together to reduce the number of ACE. Okay, so object grouping can cluster network object into one group and outside host into another, as shown in the following syntax. The security appliance can also combine both TCP services into service object group. Yeah. Okay, so this is the command that we're going to use. Yeah. So ACL using object group example. Yeah. So this example show how to configure the following three object groups. Yeah. We got next host, identify two external hosts. Servers, identify servers for providing email and web services. HTTP, SMTP, identifies SMTP and also HTTP protocol. Okay. Okay. Right. So NAT services on NASA. So as a NAT overview, NAT can be deployed using one of the method, inside NAT, outside NAT, or bidirectional NAT. Specifically, the Cisco ASA support the following command type of NAT: dynamic path, static path, policy path, or identify NAT. For dynamic path, this is a many to one translation. This is also known as NAT with overload. Usually an inside pool or private addresses overloading an outside interface or outside address. For static NAT, this is one to one translation, usually an outside address mapping to an internal server. For the policy NAT, policy-based NAT is based on a set of rules. Identity NAT, a real address is statically translated to itself essentially by passing NAT. Configure dynamic NAT. To configure network object dynamic NAT, two network objects are required. Identify the pool of public addresses with the range of subnet network object command. Identify the internal addresses to be translated with the range or subnet network object command. The two network objects are then bound together using NAT, yeah. And also we put NAT and then the name and then the word dynamic, which is map the interface, yeah, which is for IPv6. And then network object command. The real if name, yeah, is the pre-NAT interface. The map if name, which is the next parameter, yeah, is a post-NAT interface. Notice that there is no space after the comma in the syntax. Okay, all right. Configure dynamic NAT. In this dynamic NAT example, the inside host on 192.168.1, okay, 0 network will be designated assigned a range public IP address from 209.165.200.244 to 209.165.200.248. Yeah? All right. This one. Yeah. Okay. Configure dynamic NAT. To the example display a sample dynamic NAT configuration to accomplish this task. The public network object identify the public IP addresses to be translated with the dynamic NAT object. Identify the internal addresses to be translated and is bound to the public network object with the NAT command. Okay, here are the example. Now, this is the topology or scenario. Then the following example shows how to allow inside host to ping outside host. Okay, here are the command. To verify the network address and session, use show xlet, show NAT, and also show NAT details. To enable, configure dynamic NAT. To enable inside host to overload the outside address, use NAT, and put the real IP name, comma, and map IP name. Dynamic interface command is shown in the example, Okay, this one. All right. So static NAT is configured when an inside address is mapped to an outside. For instance, static NAT can be used when a server must be accessible from the outside. To configure static NAT, use the NAT and real IP name and the map IP name. Static, this, and also, these two for the network object command. The example configuration is on the next slide. So here are the scenario, or topology. Here are the example. Okay, here's the one. Okay. So next 21.6 AAA. So AAA review, authentication, authorization, and accounting. A or AAA provides an extra level of protection and user control. Using AAA only, authenticated and authorized user can be permitted to connect through the ASA. Authorization control access per user after user are authenticated. Authorization controls the services and also command that are available to each authenticated user. Encountering traffics, encountering tracks, encountering tracks traffic that pass through the SA, enable administrator to have a record of user activity. Local database and servers. Use the username and password command to create local user account. To erase a user from the local database, use the clear config username. Yeah, clear config username command. To view all the user accounts, show running config username. So to configure the TACACS or radius server, use the command listed in the table below. Okay, and next, yeah, the example shows configuration of triple A TACACS plus server on ASA 5506X model. Okay, here are the results. AAA configuration to authenticate user who access the SCL over the console, SSH, HTTPS, SDM, or Telnet, or to authenticate user who access privilege exec mode using the using the enable command. Use the AAA authentication enable console command in global config mode. Okay, here the example. The example provide a sample AAA configuration that is then verified and tested. Okay, another example. 21.7, which is service policy on an ASA. So overview of MPF. A modular policy framework, MPF configuration define a set of rules for applying firewall features such as traffic inspection and quality of service. To the traffic that travels the ASA, MPF allow granular classification of traffic flows which enable the application of different advanced policy to different flows. Yeah. Cisco MPI use the three configuration object to determine modular object-oriented hierarchical policies. Class map, class maps. Yeah, what are we looking for? This one, and then policy map. What shall we do? It this one, and also service policy. Where do we do it? Okay. Overview of MPF. There are 4 steps altogether to configure MPF on a of an ASA. First, configure extended SCL to identify granular traffic that can be specified reference in the class map. Second, step 2, configure the class map to identify traffic. Step 3, configure a policy map to apply action to those class map. Step 4, configure a service policy to attach the policy map on an interface. So to create, okay, this is an example to create a class map and also enter class map configuration mode. Use the class map class name global configuration mode command. Yeah. So next, traffic to match should be identified using the match any or match access list, which is access list name command to match traffic specified by an extended access list. All right. So define and activate a policy. Use the policy map name global configuration mode command to apply action to the layer 3 and 4. In policy map configuration mode, config PMP map, use the following command, which is description for add descriptive text for the class map name, identify a specific class map on which to perform action. So these are the 3 most common command available in policy map configuration mode. First, set connection, which is set the connection value. Inspect, provide protocol inspection service, and police, set the rate limits for traffic in this class. To activate a policy map globally on all interfaces or on a targeted interface, use the service policy, so the name of the policy, or the global interface INTF global configuration command to enable a set of policies on an interface. The example here, the example configure the policy map, its associated service policy in applied globally. Okay, yes. And then we got the packet tracer exercises also. You can have this through the NetAcad. So I hope everyone try in order to improve our understanding about configuration as a basic setting and firewall, yeah, using CLI. And also this one for lab, which is for real labs. So this one also good for you to practicing that. Okay. So this one packet tracer, this one is a physical lab. Okay. All right, that's all. Thank you for listening.